Hello, hello, hello. This is the Poetic Perfectionist. I'm your host, Sophia.
And I'm your other host, Abigail, but you can call me Abby for short.
How are you doing?
Girl, living life. Now that it's summer, I'm trying to be outside. I'm trying to get that weather. I'm trying to get that vitamin D outside for me, 100%, please.
I mean, is it officially summer yet? I thought it wasn't until the end of this month.
This is true, but I'm trying to be optimistic here. I'm trying to put out there and good weathers and good times, because we haven't had consistent nice weather in a bit. We literally have like a sprinkle of like 5 days in the span of like from May to June.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so happy summer.
Yeah.
Happy summer, guys.
Happy summer indeed.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm going through like a hot flash or something. I'm convinced once you hit 30, it's all downhill from here. Refuse to believe the others that tell you otherwise.
I mean, a lot of people are just like, no, we are rebuking it like the Satan it is. This is not my ministry. I mean, at least that's what I used to say all the time when I was, younger. And then I'd be waking up in the morning, aching all over and wondering what the hell I did the day before. Why am I hurting? You sleep wrong and that could F up your whole week.
They like to say you're as zen as you feel. Well, I feel 85 right now, so that should tell you something.
I mean, I'm still rebuking it, but let me tell you, my body be having other
ideas.
Other ideas, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless you, child. Bless you. Gotta make sure you didn't tinkle on yourself, did you? I know now that you sneeze, you tinkle.
Very funny. Very funny. Not that stage.
Have you gotten to the point where like you have like certain things that bother you? They're like weird pet peeves now. Bless you.
Thank you.
Wait, or is that just me?
No, definitely not just you.
Because I feel like my list of pet peeves have kind of morphed over the years.
Oh yeah.
And now it's just like, I don't really like it. I don't really like that tone, or I don't really like it. Like, I don't know, maybe, no, I don't know. Do you have any list of pet peeves?
Girl, do I? First of all, people who drive too slow. Why are you on the street if you got no business to be going nowhere? Like, gas prices too dang high for you to be out here just leisurely driving on the road and not paying attention. People who sit at the green light and it's like almost yellow as you're crossing. Why would you do that? That's so disrespectful.
It's because they have hate in their hearts.
Stay home. Just stay home. I don't understand. There's nothing in front of you. There's no obstruction. Why are you on the street? Why are you in the street? I just don't understand. Okay?
I just told you, they have hate in their heart. And they're out to get you.
And then,
what about the ones with the... I don't know about other states, but I know for us, we get our registration stickers. Like when they put them all over the license plate, that'd be pissing me off. It's like, I don't need to know that you had stickers from like 2019, 2017, all the other. It's like, it's all over the place. Just put it over the expired one because we only care about the current one. That's what matters. Nope. You want to stack it or spread it, and it's like this colorful collage of just throw up. I can't stand it. To me, those people, they're psychos. I'm telling you.
Won't be surprised. Listen, as soon as I see, after you make that comment, that's all I see now. I'm like checking people's life. Well, like, wait a minute. Hold up.
Psychos.
Now I'm like looking a little sideways. Yeah, here in these streets, like, I don't wanna bump heads with this person. You never know. It might end up following you.
Not right in the head. Yep. I said it. I
don't want to be taken down. I don't want to get attacked. Thank you very much. I'm not trying to look for any trouble. I'm a business.
Or I don't know if this has happened with you before. Like when you go out to dinner. Has the position of where the glasses are ever bothered you?
Sometimes.
Like, I'd be like, the wine glass is here, my water glass is in front of it.
Yep.
But it's not. I like a diagonal almost. They put it like back to back straight, and it bothers me because now you're obstructing my way of getting to the wine.
It's supposed to be done. My thing is, it's like, I find that as a pet peeve because I legitimately took like etiquette lessons where they show you how the table set is supposed to be. So I know how the glasses are supposed to be. On the right hand side, it's supposed to be in a diagonal place. So it's like for me, it's like I know the purpose of why it's put diagonal. So it definitely bothers me because it's like you mean to tell me your menu is out here, have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to charge people $50 minimum, okay, for their meals and other things, and you can't train your staff to make sure they set the table right. It's the minor things, you know.
It's the small details.
Yep, it goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I understand it. I get it. I feel it. It still bothers me when that happens. Like it just. I wouldn't say it's an OCD of mine. It's just a weird pet peeve of mine, and I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't like it at all. That and dealing with someone who can't plan or organize an event or an outing. I don't know, set me over the edge.
That I've gotten to the point now because I know, like I'm so like that's one of the things that irk me. Once I know someone of that variety zone that's planning the event, I tune out. I just say, let me know when you got date, time, and where I should show up, and that's it. Because I know if I try to follow along between that journey and stuff, I will be aggravated to the 11th degree, giving myself unnecessary medical conditions and ulcers that I don't need. Nope, you're not gonna raise my blood pressure. Not today, not now, not never, Satan.
I have some friends who are just, they'll do it occasionally. They're not good like I am, but they pull their weight. But then there are just others that are just like, I'm going to need you to have an opinion on something. Where are you going to... I'm going to lead you down a path of all that is wrong on purpose, just so I can teach you a lesson. That's what I'm going to do. And I think it's even worse when you go on a date.
My thing is this. A lot of these guys, especially in the dating scene, have gotten so... Like, I just feel like some of them are just... They've gotten lazy. You say, oh... the girl is a gold digger and this and the third. You want to accuse every woman of being, every name in the book besides the child of God, saying that all they want is to be going after your money. Mind you, okay, you need to have gold for anybody to be digging first, number one. Number two, it's in your benefit to plan the date because A, it shows that you're putting effort in this, and B, if you know that you're in a certain budget and you're a certain range, you get to control the situation by being like, okay, this is where we're going, this we're going. If you plan this out, it's detailed, right? And then the woman is like, nah, I don't want to go in this and the third. Then that could tell you right away, you know what, this person's not for me. If they're not even willing to be like, you know what, let's try this out, let's go to this place or whatever, and are strictly like, oh, these are the places I want to go in this and the third. And if that's not for you, that's not for you.
Yeah.
But why go through the process of like having them plan everything, put in all that effort, and then just to turn around for you to be like, oh, well, I paid this $50 to $100. Now I expect you to be out here, take your clothes off and spread your legs open for a $50 meal. Like, that math is not mathing.
Did I hit a trigger? Did I hit a trigger moment with you?
I'm not saying trigger moment, but these dating scenes out here is for the wild and the uncultured couths, and I don't know what else you want to call it.
So uncultured couths. Well, I'm still hopeful since I'm still out there for the best.
I thank the Lord every day. He decided, nah, they ain't ready for this. It took me out. As soon as I was in, nope.
I think it was more so to spare other people's feelings. It's not like he would be very gentle.
First of all, okay, I am 30.
I'm just saying, you wouldn't be gentle.
In our age, society is looking at you like, listen, this stuff was cute in your early 20s, your late teens, you're 30 now, and the number's getting higher. Like, you need to have some sort of idea of how the day-to-day and step-by-step needs to go to be an adult, to do your adulting things. Like, you can't be out here acting like you have no idea what you want to do about anything. And it's the indecisiveness for me. Like, oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? You ask me that question one more time.
I can hear it now.
I'm about to meet you upside the head with this pen. Talk about, oh, anything you want to, no,
So then,
no.
what? So how would you say? What would you say is different now? Because you said you're 30.
Mm.
I'm 32. So what would you say is different now in your first year of 30 versus what you have done in your 20s in terms of like planning and doing all of that? Like, what's fun for you now that wasn't fun for you then?
The budget meals.
Oh yeah, I've been done with those.
The budget meals.
I have.
I mean, my thing is like, I know that if I ever had to go back, not that I would ever
Knock on
want
wood.
to, knock on wood indeed. If I have, listen, if push comes to shove, I have something big I need to save for, like, you know, my next step in life of getting a house or something like that, and I have to, you know, budget a little bit, cut back on some things that I like, you know, so that I don't do it as often. Okay, fine. But back in the college days of like shopping in the CVS dollar section to be able to survive, having the one meal a day situation, I lost that. I do not want to go back to that.
That was some strict survival.
Yep. I did that to survive. Everybody had to do a little something, but like I don't think I would voluntarily choose
Absolutely not.
to go back to that.
No,
again.
I wouldn't.
In my 30s, like it's like I like nice things. I like nice restaurants. I may not be able to go to them as often as I used to, partly because a lot of the food is very fattening and I can't control a majority of how it's made.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like restrictions now and what I can eat or what I allow myself to eat. That is like, because before I was, you know, younger, I didn't care what was going in my body. It was like, oh, it was within the budget, great. You know, it was $1, great. Like I never questioned, is this thing healthy for me? What kind of you know nutrition was
You were
in there?
carefree.
Yeah, you just ate anything and your body was like,
You
okay, I
didn't give a
guess we'll
damn.
have to make do.
You were gone with the wind. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, no, now you can't. I can't just eat anything anymore. Like it got to a point where it was like I realized the things that I was eating in my 20s was not serving my body. It was making me sick, like physically ill. Like I was feeling bloated. I was feeling sluggish. Like I wasn't feeling my best. It was just the food quality definitely went up significantly from my 20s and how I ate to like my 30s. Like a lot of changes made, and it's like for the better because it's like now I'm actually looking at, is this actually good for me? What service will this do for me? It's not just like, oh, because it's cheap or because it's affordable. I'm just gonna buy it, eat it without any questioning the process and what it's made.
No, you care about what goes in your body now, as opposed to then. It's not like you didn't care then, but you couldn't afford to care as much then.
Nope.
Like I said, we were surviving back then. Let us not go back down that path. Thank you, Jesus.
Yep. Not on wood indeed.
But yeah, no, you definitely wouldn't volunteer to run back. I mean, I know for me, one thing that I know that I would never, I guess you hear the phrase never say never. I probably wouldn't go back and do in my 20s. That would probably, once I got a car, I was like, there's no other form of transportation for me.
Oh.
What is this? Anything other than a car? It's like, oh, you can bike. You can walk. So you can take public transportation. No.
Have you met me?
I expect a car being pulled into my driveway to pick me up, whether I'm doing the driving or someone else is chauffeuring me around. I expect a proper vehicle to myself, and none of this. Well, you know, you can. No. You can do that, not me. You ever notice that picture? I don't know if you ever seen it, where it's like the guy that's sitting on the bench is admiring the guy that's sitting, that's riding the bike, and the guy is admiring the guy that's taking.
That was in the hoopty.
And then the hoopty is looking at the nicer car. You ever notice they ever look at public transportation?
Yeah, no.
I never seen no bus, train, plane, freight, ferry, none of that. Everybody else wants to do everything else, but the one thing that they know gets on their nerves: public transportation.
Yeah,
it serves a purpose. It really does. It is important.
It is important.
However,
I mean, it got us through college, that's for sure.
If you are somebody that has heavily depended on public transportation to get everywhere, anywhere and everywhere, you know how stressful that is. Between the price hikes, the service itself,
Yep.
the constant delays, and if you live in areas such as the Boston area, like ourselves, it be a nightmare. You better off just walking.
Yeah. It's true. How is it like it's a nice day outside and you're telling me because of a sprinkle of rain the train is shut down, but still those prices are hiking up? It's like $10 one fare. What am I paying for? You're charging me more money and the service is not getting any better. If anything, it's getting worse. That doesn't make any sense to me.
And if it's not, my favorite is when they use the excuse, oh, there's traffic, there's delay. I'm like,
where? It's a train track.
It goes the same route every single time. It don't go nowhere else.
They make it sound like it's I-93, I-95. Yeah, we backed up bumper to bumper over here.
Like, well, sir, what did you talk about? There should be no traffic. Like,
that was the most ridiculous. That was one of the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. When they said there was traffic, I was like, how? Wait, where? How is that even possible?
I was legit looking for a car on the tracks. I was like, is there a car with somebody just bumper to bumper?
Yeah,
like, okay.
That made no sense to me.
That one cracked me up. It's that or the repairs, the constant need to. It just was a lot. It just was a lot. So that's something I definitely would not go back to.
Okay, so that's a huge change. That's a change from your 20s and 30s. I can completely get behind that 100%. I get it.
Especially in my position, you may not, right now, I may not have a vehicle, but I have friends, trusted friends who do. I would sooner hop in there. You need gas money? Car repairs? Okay, how much are we chipping? I'm not doing all that other stuff.
It's a team effort. If one win, we win. Okay. Collectively.
You need to be on time with your oil change.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, remember, it is a team effort. This is our car today.
What about entertainment? Like, what would you say now, from your 20s to now in your 30s, would you say you find entertaining? What do you do for fun? What do you find fun? What did you used to do? What has changed since?
I think now I have never enjoyed, I don't know if you consider it entertainment. I know I do, because it replenishes me. A nice stay indoors, watching me a good movie, and then taking a nap after the movie's done. Like, I just go right to sleep. Right, taking my nap, my midday nap. Not me, but my nap snack. That is entertainment to me. I know it's not much, but it's the little things. Before, I used to frown upon such things. Like, what are you doing? You're not doing much. You need to be out and about. I don't know where I was going. I didn't have plans like that. Y'all stayed home.
But what I heard is you always say, oh, I'm within the borderlines of Massachusetts. So for all I know, you probably the one out of the friend group that's visited more of Massachusetts, the place we have lived more than half of our lives, than anybody else.
I'm at a Target, but where?
She'd be like 2 hours away. Yeah, it's gonna be a little difficult for me to get back to you. I'm a little far.
You told me you had plans today. I'm not meeting you till 4.
I'm gonna have to reschedule that.
I'll be there. Give me an hour.
Rain check.
Yeah, I would say, staying in, watching movies. I mean, all those subscriptions I'll be paying. I better stay home and watch most of them.
Seriously, get your money's worth. Especially since Netflix nowadays is on some BS with its, if you're going to share your password and log in, that's going to be an extra $8. Meanwhile,
per person that you shared it with outside your household, I did look it up. And actually, because they enacted that, a lot of people signed up. So it took the threat of charging those that already have the account an extra charge and be like, all right, you gotta get your own account now. All right, set you free. So it went up for them. I don't know about how much, but they saw a spike. But bless their hearts.
I was surprised. I thought it would be like a decline because it's not. I could understand if they had enacted this when it was just them. They were booming. Netflix was the only one. Because the thing is, it's like people always feel like, Netflix came first, but that's not true. Hulu was always around long before Netflix was even a thing.
Netflix just had better PR.
Exactly. Netflix had better PR. So it was out there, it was more in your face, so a lot of people were subscribing and getting to it. If they had done that in the beginning, right, when they were taking a lot of the clientele that Hulu was missing out on for not thoroughly advertising themselves, that would make sense. But it's like now there's Hulu, there's Disney Plus, there's Amazon, there's HBO Max, Apple TV. There's all these other brands now.
Plus all the major shows like NBC, CBS,
Yep.
ABC, they each have their own streaming sites. So
Exactly.
every network has their own thing.
Yeah.
So it's like
when you have all these options,
it equates to a cable bill. So
if I want a cable, I want to pay for cable.
You get the Wi-Fi, you get the internet service, and then you add the subscriptions. That's a cable bill right there.
Yep. That's a bundle pack, if I ever did see one.
Mm-hmm. So I can understand the need for, because it's like people, it's still somewhat cheaper than getting the official, cable package. Because at least with this, you pick and choose which ones you want, and you have control over what shows and movies you're watching. Yep. And not for nothing, a lot of these streaming platforms, they're doing better with like their movies that they're putting out, their independent movies, independent shows. Like, so they're doing better in that. So it makes you want to go out and get it. Hence why my ass be staying at home, watching. Like, I'm paying for all. I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, I've got Disney Plus. I just signed up for Apple TV. I've got the Kev on Stage app. I've got that's more than $40 right there.
Wow. I mean, $40 is still a lot cheaper than the cable service.
It is, but then also I got my internet service to run it. So then it becomes.
It's still under, I would say, $100.
No, not mine.
Really?
No, because remember, with my particular carrier, the promotional thing went out, so now it's like $100.
Ooh, girl, you need to be signed for a new promotion.
No.
That's what I do every single time I go. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna close it out and then come back as a whole nother person and get the new promotion.
It'd be real annoying.
I was like, nope, you're not finna get $1 extra from me on sale every single time. That's another thing. You will not catch me full price for internet and no.
She's like, that is for the streets.
We are wiser in this age with our money than we were back then. I'm not saying we don't spend it on some things that may be seen as foolishness, but it's like priorities. We still take care of the roof over the head, the food, the bills, all these stuff come first and get paid.
Everything
but best
else,
believe we're putting in that budget some fun money play, some playtime, some let's go out to brunch or lunch with the girls.
That's a different thing. Brunch, I never realized how much I appreciate a good brunch, girl.
Right?
What are your forms of entertainment aside from eating?
I mean, I really do love eating, but I would say mine would probably be I like shopping. In my 20s, I wasn't able to do it as much. I mean, I did it, but it was like as the adult things started getting more and I started having more bills and more responsibilities, I wasn't able to do it as much. But I will say, though, in my 20s, how I shopped was a lot more impulsive and reckless than I do now. Now it's about, like, what's the quality of the fabric? Like, good materials. Is it going to last me long? Is it wearable throughout the year? Like, or is it just a piece of item I can just wear one season and then never be able to wear again? Does it fit well within my closet? Like, a lot of these thoughts and process and, like, things go into how I decide to pull the trigger and purchase an outfit. I didn't used to think about these things before in my 20s. It was just like, oh, it's on sale. And that's the thing that got me, because it was like, in my mind, it was like, oh, because it's on sale, it almost inadvertently it was almost as if your mind is like being brainwashed, where it's like, oh, if it's on sale, that means it must be good. Like, you need to stash it up. When it was like, you don't need that item. You're not going to use that item. That item is in a hideous color that will not fit with anything in your closet. You're not going to use it probably more than once. And sure enough, I had a lot of items. Like, when I first late in my 20s, early 30s when I first started really cleaning out my closet and curating my closet to be more of like, more of an adult and responsible closet where it's like it's fun pieces, but it's also things that I can wear and they'll be timeless. And as I started curating, there were items that still had tag on them. I didn't even know was in the back of my closet or was in my closet, to be fair. They still was in the bag I bought them. And I'm out here donating things I still have the tag. Lucky for me, I have sisters, so I gave them the first round first. If they were interested in any of the stuff, then they took them. If not, I was just donating because it was like, oh. And when I realized how much money that was going out the door, seeing the tags, and I was like, yeah, I can't keep doing this anymore. Like I could be using that money, more wisely to get like a good item that's gonna last me years and years to come, rather than spend, over $100-something on like 6, 7, 10 pieces that I got on sale that I never wear or I can't match with anything I have in my closet.
Oh, so yeah, it definitely shifted the way you did things. So even the way you enjoy shopping has changed.
Yeah. Significantly.
To being an adult.
Yeah, being an adult is not always a bad thing.
I mean, it could be better.
Once I, find the secret password and hack to like no longer be out here paying for all these bills and just using my money for the fun things, and yeah.
I mean, there's always the option of finding you a sugar daddy.
You keep saying that. It's just finding one that doesn't want any sexual favors or anything from me. But
some of them just want a friend, a young, nice-looking friend.
Yes. Is it going to be a friend that they're not trying to look for benefits for? A friend that they're not trying to be out here groping the leg unnecessary? So I'm like, listen here, old man. You about 30 seconds from getting smacked upside the head.
All you have to do is wait to, he starts getting a little sleepy around his nap time. They be sleeping a lot. Now it's time for my nap. Yes, it is for your nap.
You mean to tell me you trying to say sleep a melanin gummy? Oh, you going to do that to the children? You know what?
It's either that or you gaslight them. Oh, we just had some fun. Don't you remember? No? Okay. All right.
You'd be a little grown for all that.
Mm-hmm. But that's another conversation for another day.
I'm sure. I am sure. That sounds too long to be talking about just
Well, what about we talked about what things of like entertainment wise, but what about relaxing and kind of like having a reset mode? Like what has changed between then and now? Like what do you do now that you wouldn't have done then? Or vice versa?
Oh yeah, I've cut back significantly socializing. Yeah. Before, it's like when I was younger, I didn't realize how much I was stretching myself thin until I got to a point where I was just like, I am tired all the time. And I'm going out almost every single weekend. I have no rest, no anything. If I'm not at work spending more than 90% of my time, the other 15% is at home trying to sleep. So whatever the 5% of freedom that I have is just spent with like seeing this person, going out with that person, this, that, and the third. And it was always like this thought process that it's like, oh, if I don't make time to like see my friends, at least once a week or whatever, it's like, oh, are we really friends? And it's like I had this sort of immature thought process of how friendship would be.
Mm-hmm.
And now being older, it's like, no, these people, if I say these people are my friend, these people say I'm their friend, they understand as an adult, like things happen. You don't always have to hang out all the time. A couple of weeks can go by, you don't see each other, and they still understand you guys are still friends. You're just taking that time to reset. Because socializing is exhausting, especially if you work in in an industry where you have to, where it's like a service industry where you have to constantly have conversation with customers and clients and talk to them all the time. You're draining.
It's draining.
Like, there's not much left for you. When you get home, whether you have every good intention or not, you're so drained from the amount of hours that you have to spend talking to people and listening to people's problems and trying to solve people's problems. By the time you get home, it's like, I literally have almost nothing left.
Yeah, you need that time for yourself. You need to be able to just regroup, reset, relax, retreat, however you want to word it, you need to do it. And if you don't get it done, then, you've exhausted yourself to everybody else, but what is there left of you?
There's nothing.
Yes. Then, you've done yourself a disservice, a major disservice, in my opinion.
And you have to live with yourself. And that's the thing that people forget. When everybody else disappears, the responsibilities and all the other stuff, it's just you, yourself, and you. That's it. Like, can you honestly say that I can spend a whole day or a whole week or whatever with just myself and I can be entertained and perfectly fine? Or are you spending a majority of time running away from, these demons from the past that you haven't addressed, you haven't confronted, you haven't dealt with? And now, when the chance comes where it's like just you and yourself, you don't know what to do with yourself. This is why that was another thing too. Therapy. That was a huge thing.
Ooh, therapy.
Yeah, early teens and 20s did not do it. I thought, I could do it myself. Or I talk to my friends. I get things off my chest. That's it. It's like, nope. Once I finally made that decision where I was like, no, like I need to see a professional. I need to talk to a professional.
You need to talk to an unbiased third party.
Mm-hmm. Once I made that decision to actually speak to someone, seek a professional, and get actual help, it was just like, wow, layers and layers will come. It was like an onion. I was peeling back. Things that I didn't even think was a trauma, wasn't issues, was just coming out. It's like, wow, I never thought it was a thing. So this is the reason why I'm acting the way it is, or I, do things the way that I do. It wasn't because of a choice. It was because of like, I was operating in the fight or flight sort of situation for so long and trying to protect myself. And this is why I do things. It's a huge, huge, huge thing.
I also think it made it easier for you to express yourself and interact with somebody who has no stake in the game, other than a weekly, routine commitment to them to get this off your chest, to get things off your chest in a healthy way, and you not be able to push back and for them to retreat. Because I feel like when you do it with friends and you kind of use your friends or your family as like your sounding board, therapy wise, there may be some pushback, but then all of a sudden you then come up with like 1,000,001 reasonings as to why you do the things that you do.
Yep.
And your support system may not push on that. Only because they may think, all right, I don't want to push them over the edge, or they're not getting through, whatever the case may be. Whereas a therapist, part of their job is to push back. They're supposed to hold a mirror up to yourself and, give you that push. Like, okay, then what about this? Or what about that? Or, where do you stand on this? Yeah. So it's like, you can put up a fight with them, but it's like, they're not going to hold back. They'll be respectful, obviously, and professional, but it's like, you're paying them to be honest with you. Yeah. Whereas your family and friends, you're not paying them at all. It's just out of obligation. Yep. So they'll be honest with you, but will you hear it?
See, that's also too. The thing is, it's like, it's also coming into terms, like when you're in your 30s and you're really doing that self-reflect and that work, both mentally, emotionally, and physically, is coming to terms at the fact that it's like you've had people in your life that has been giving you the same message that you have paid for.
Yeah, you just didn't want to hear it.
You didn't want to hear it because the thing is, it's like when you're too close to the person, or your relationship and the dynamic is a bit different. Like you don't want to hear it because for some reason in your mind it's like, oh well, they don't know or they don't understand. While it's like
you take their 2 cents for granted.
Exactly. You overlook and you underestimate what they have to say, when in reality it's like you are getting the same type of information.
It's that underlying reason where, well, your family, your friends, you're my support system, you're always going to be there. Yeah. So you inadvertently take advantage of that. And like them, they feel guilty or feel bad, so they don't want to push. Yep. Because, the easiest thing to do is to ice them out. Yep. Which is so not fair.
Nope. Nope, it's not.
So I would say, yeah, therapy is definitely a good way to like relax and retreat and do things of that nature. I know for me, I use different outlets as well in addition to therapy. You know, I journal. I will draw things to kind of just get it off my
Mhm.
chest in a way without talking.
Yep.
Because, you know, if I'm talking to my therapist, I've got my journal ready and we're going to talk about these things. Granted, my sessions with my therapist will be like on a bi-weekly or monthly schedule. So we got a lot to talk about and it's not enough in an hour. Let me tell you that right now. Okay, and the way my insurance is set up, we can do an hour. Anything more than that, it's extra out of my pocket. We're not going to do that. So here are your notes. Go through them, feel how you feel, and then we can talk about it.
It's got to the point. My thing is with journaling is I've always loved writing. It's been a while since I've written. I've been on and off in regards to the journaling part. Before I used to do a lot of creative writing, and I haven't done too much of that because I've just been so busy and telling myself like, oh, I'm so busy with life and I have to work all these extra hours because I'm trying to attain this goal of just being like, oh, if only I didn't have this debt, or if only I could just pay this off, then it's like everything else would just seem to like magically just come into place. But it's like that's not how it works.
I mean, I would count your Google reviews on where we go out to eat as creative.
Just because you think they're colorful and you are out here like, huh? Well, I'm sure that business is closed now. We ain't gonna see it tomorrow. That's it. It was nice while it lasted.
They close their doors as soon as she hits send.
There goes all the people that would have visited them.
The staff seems so nice.
Right?
I hope they land on their feet.
At least I visited before she came.
She came around.
Yep. I don't always go out there to be out here tearing places and such a while. But my thing is like I find that a lot of people when they put reviews, a majority of people, they're not doing it from a non-biased perspective. It's very much an emotional thing. And I try to be as unbiased with my reviews as possible, you know? Like I start off like I include things in my reviews like what the parking situation is like, where is it located street-wise? Is it off a busy street? Is it a slow street? Is it on a side street? Is it a back road? Is it in an alley? Is it a hole in the wall? All these things are important because it's like before you even get to the restaurant or before you even get to the place, how difficult or how easy it is for you to get there can play a lot in your emotions by the time you sat down, you've ordered something and you know, now are essentially starting that experience of like what the restaurant itself is. But it's like if it took you forever to find it, there was no parking, there's that aggravation. Now you're already on a, you know, particular type of emotion before you even interacted with any of the staff or even had a chance to even eat the food. You're like, oh, this is just annoying. Why did I even bother coming here? There's no parking. It took me forever. I had to loop around several times.
Not the loop-de-loop.
All of that plays into then what you're writing as a review. But the problem is people are just so in their emotions when they're writing this. They don't even think, oh, maybe I can spare somebody else from having to go through this by mentally prepare them by saying, hey, it's difficult to find. The parking situation is very low. There's like 20 parking spaces max, or it's a street parking situation. So I suggest you come well in advance so you have plenty of time to find parking so that you're easily just strolling into that restaurant and then your experience can begin. I want to spare people from that, especially if I have to suffer through it and I know how it felt. I want to be able to spare someone from having to go through that. But a lot of these reviews, they don't put that into consideration.
Because they don't think about it. They're thinking about how, like, the chef or whoever ruined their meal. Or the server didn't greet them a certain type of way. Or whatever the case may be. I'm sure it's reasonable in their minds, but, you know, when you're doing a review, it's like, really? But, okay. So, yeah, your reviews tend to be, all right, proceed with caution. These are the issues that I ran into.
Yep.
I would still give it a second chance, but these are things to factor in. And I do appreciate you adding pictures because, you know, when I be going through reviews and I be looking for, like, you ever look up, like, a Google restaurant? And this is another thing that I do now that I never used to do in my 20s. I'll look up a restaurant, right? I've heard about a place that I want to try out, whether it's new to me or just new in general. Look it up, go through the menu, and then I want to see what the meal looks like, especially the appetizers.
Yep.
Like for me, I'm a big crab cake person. Some places, the crab cakes are like this huge.
Yep.
They're like the size of my phone. And other places, and it's just one. And other places, it's like half that, but you get two, or they're thick, or they're flat. Like you get different versions depending on where you go.
Yep.
And I would like to see what I'm walking myself into. I mean, granted, you can ask the server when you get there, but it's like
it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because then it's like you open up that gate for kind of like judgment and also like I don't know how to explain it. There's that stigma that I feel like most people in the restaurant industry have about people who ask certain questions about like, oh, how many pieces does that come with it?
Yeah.
It's almost as if like, oh well,
like you're a cheapskate.
Exactly.
And I don't want to come across as a cheapskate or like I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. So I'd like to at least see what it looks like. Or if it's something like, oh, if the server or whoever or the bartender, depending on where I'm sitting, can tell like there's a little hesitation, and I ask, oh, you know, what would you say is your favorite appetizer on the menu or blah blah blah, whatever the case may be, and they go into description, and it's like, oh, it's about this big, and you can feed. Like if they're like that, that's great. But if I have to like outward ask, I kind of am like.
You also don't want to order because now you have it in your mind that it's like, because the thing is, it's ideally you want to be able to get served without any biases.
True.
And it's tough to do that.
And I also want to be able to come into, I also want to be able to try a place and not have like, well, if I go somewhere else, I know this is what, like, because that's generally what I'm doing. I'm comparing it to another place that I do like, and it's like, that's what I get.
Yep.
And then when it's like this place, I don't feel like I'm giving this place its fair chance, its fair shot to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yep.
I'm constantly like, well, it's almost like comparing boyfriends.
Yep.
Your current to your exes. It's like, well, my last man. Well, bitch, if he was that good, you should have stayed.
Yep.
But he's not, so you're here.
The thing is, it's like, I think once you've come to the realization that it's like you're always going to compare the place that you've been with the new place that you're going to some extent, then you're mentally preparing yourself to be like, because then you're more mindful when you're actually giving the place a chance. You're like, you know what? This place is different. Okay. What does this place offer that's different, that makes it stand out on its own, that it's not necessarily comparable? They may have similar things on the menu, but how have they done it? Is it the same way as the last place? Or is it, because I've gone to places where it's like, I love their crab cakes. I have one particular place, Eddie V's.
Oh,
I love their crab cake. Their crab cake is the best I've ever tasted.
But also, remember Chardonnays and Seaconk? I love how they do theirs
Exactly.
too.
Theirs stand out different because they have this mango salsa situation that they do with it, and how they like put the little sauce that comes with it. The flavoring is so different and stands, separately from Eddie V's, that in my mind, they're not comparable. It's not the same thing because they're different. It's like they may be titled the same thing, but how they've done it and how they've claimed it as their own.
The presentation matters, and it varies from place to place, and some have better presentation than others. The flavoring can be different too. I just want it all to be good, but like I said, I do want to give it a fair chance. And I think what I used to do back then is just like, you know what? It's whatever. It's not like I'm going to like a chain, like some cheap chain restaurant. So whatever, girl, I'll take what I can get. Whereas now it's just like how you said you were curating your closet.
Yep.
I'm curating my restaurant experience. My food palette, my drink palette. You know how I feel about my alcohol. I feel about my wines and my mixed cocktails.
Listen, my thought process is this. If I've come out, right, when I have the option to stay home and I could have made a meal myself, If I've come out, then I have already mentally prepared and financially prepared to spend whatever money it is going to be for this experience
Mm-hmm.
and this meal. What I don't want is to be mentally prepared to pay you what you're asking me for this said meal and experience, and then for you to F it up by not giving the proper care that it deserves. It's like, I'm giving you and spending a lot of money right now. The very least you can do, and part of my purchase, is that you make this experience as memorable in a good way as possible.
Oh, like what's the place we went to yesterday?
Um,
Idle Hour Bar.
yes.
And it was on a basis of a recommendation, which is another thing that I do different now that I never used to do before.
Yep.
Before I used to like just do a dry list, look it up. Have I been here before? No. All right, schedule the reservation or just pop up and then. But if I get like good recommendations from like friends, family, acquaintances, whatever the case may be,
Yep.
they're like, oh, you should give it a try. Da da da. Case in point. So for this place, we went Idle Hour Bar. So good. It's like your typical American bar food,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a small menu.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I gather, from what the bartender had told us, the chef does everything seasonally.
Yep.
So everything is within season.
Mm-hmm.
So you had like the main crab.
It was
Was it
like
crab?
it was the main crab or seafood like gnocchi.
It looks so good.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Everything was fresh, and even the bartender was saying like, if they can make everything in house, they do,
They will.
which is why their menu is small. They handmade the tortilla, handmade the burger buns, the burgers themselves, the gnocchi. They make it fresh every single morning. Like, the crabs, everything that's in season, it's all locally sourced. All that is very important because it's like people don't understand, and a lot of times too when you're younger, you don't really think about these things because it's like you spend a majority of your life as a youth having someone that's been in charge of your health.
Mm-hmm.
Their main responsibility is making sure that you're healthy and you make it up a certain age.
Yeah.
Now when you have to take over and you're now solely responsible for your own health, right?
Right.
There's that period of you just trying to like figure it out. Like what's healthy for me, what's best for me, what's actually like works for my body or doesn't. When you start being serious about that and looking into it and doing your research, then you realize, wow, like all this time, people are making a huge deal about how locally sourced things is like the greatest thing, but you never understood why until you do the research and you realize where you live in the region you live in, it's best that you eat things that are within the season because it helps your body in regards to immune system and how it adapts. When you're eating things that's out of season, it's not good for your body. It's not processed properly because it's like it's putting it out of whack. When it's in season, you're getting the nutrients that you need in that season, in that time. It's just like how they say, if you have like allergies, the good thing that you can do if you buy the locally sourced honey from there, the bees have pollinated from flowers and plants that are in that area. So if you eat the honey from that area, it's just sort of like a natural of building an immune system against those pollen, against those, flowers and plants that naturally grow in this
You're
area.
inadvertently building your tolerance.
Exactly.
Towards said allergy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, that's good. That's good. I mean, like I said, the things that I did in my 20s or things that we did in our 20s are completely different than what we are doing now going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's much better that you leave out the extra BS, the weird fluff, which is another thing. I never understood peanut butter and fluff. Like, I got it, but at the same time, I didn't get it. Like, that's a different color. I never understood it.
I liked it.
And I think it's a New England thing.
I liked
like
it.
specifically us.
Yeah. I liked it, but my thing is, it was a rarity for me. Peanut butter and jelly or jam was like the thing that we had.
That's normal.
Fluff was like a rare occasion.
It's a regional thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a regional thing. I'm convinced it's a Massachusetts thing because I've never heard anybody from any other New England state
We wanted to
mentioned
be
it.
different. It was boring for that whole peanut butter
But
and jelly
like,
thing.
essentially, it's like you took a marshmallow and you melted it down,
Mhm.
and then you spread it on your bread. And it was just like,
I think the thought process is it had started out being making a portable and already melted way of doing a s'more without the work of actually having to go and get a fire and melt.
but that's the whole point of you doing s'mores, is to stick it on the stick, the marshmallow, the chocolate, the blah blah blah.
I get
do
that.
all that.
This is for the people that don't like outdoors and don't like fun things like fire. I don't know how else to explain it.
with their lives.
Listen, those who want to stay inside, those who are not 40 outside and not trying to do the whole nature thing, because it's an experience. A bonfire and doing s'mores is an experience. Some people just don't want to have to deal with that hassle.
That's one thing I definitely want to do this summer, a good bonfire.
Oh,
That's
I
a nice
love
way
it.
to end a summer.
I love
A
being
good
fire.
bonfire. You just
That for me, that is one of the most restful and peaceful things that I could do. You put me by the side of a beach to listen to those waves and just watch the sunset, or a nice fire, I will be happy as a clam.
I think that's one thing that I would be willing to do. If I would be willing to go to a country fest with you, because I know that's something that you want to do. I don't know why, but you want to do it. But in exchange, I want a bonfire right after.
Oh, okay. We can always do
It's the only way you can go meet. No, other than that, I'm gonna be looking at you. Well, you're gonna go to the country fest with your man, because the Lord told you can't be single out here in these streets. That's what you got a man
He's
for.
like you. He don't like country either.
Nah, he can't have that. I'll talk to him. He has to. He has to pick up the slack.
Oh, is that right? Good to know.
We are very invested in your happiness.
Mhm.
The best way is for him to do it, so I don't have to.
Is that right?
He can dance, right? Like he enjoys a good dance, right? We're gonna have to work on that too.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Because the way my ankles and my knees are set up, he's gonna have to pick up the slack too.
Well, listen, I'm working on that.
Listen.
Speaking of which, right? Of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember the last time I did that. Like, I mean, what? That used to be one of the events and things that we used to plan together in our 20s.
November of 2022.
Oh, man.
Is the last time I remember, because we went out for my birthday.
Yep.
From what I can remember, I was doing some form of dancing.
That was honestly, I can't even remember. Yeah, no. Like, honestly, we don't,
You were doing a two-step. Our other friend doing her two-step and twerking. I think I danced.
It was a two-step thing. You did a very sachet to the left, sachet to the right.
And then I sashayed right back to the chair.
She's like, whoa, we can try to keep these ankles in place.
Ooh, this Jen is starting to do something to me.
She was saying it like, get a nice cup of water.
Where's that chair?
Where's that ice?
Why is it so far?
Good time.
That is the last time I specifically remember. I was supposed to go to the Grand with a friend of mine last weekend because apparently 50 Cent was in town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would have sang to In the Club with him.
In the club.
He doesn't have, in my opinion, he doesn't have those dancing. He's not he's not a Nelly.
Nope.
He's not a Ja Rule.
Nope. You play Ja Rule and Nelly.
I can dance. He's, shoot him up, stab him up, throw him over.
You can't dance
I was
for
like, I can bop to it. He's got some bops. I'll give him that. But he's like, I can't really dance to it. You know what they say, thugs don't dance.
that. No, they wallflowers. They're too thug.
Yeah. So I will happily sing along with his music. I don't know what kind of two-step I would be doing.
I'm just saying, like, you go and pay all that money to get in the club. Well, unless if you
It depends
are
on where
women
you're
and you get in a certain time, then you don't have to pay for the cover.
I-
But it's like, you just sitting there and just vibing, and that's it. No dancing. And I was like, what did you pay for?
To stand against the wall with your $20 drink, looking at the women who are doing all the dancing.
I have other ways to spend my hard-earned money, and that ain't it.
Well, I'm convinced now. Maybe it's because we are making more money now than before, but like
This is
going
true.
out when there's like a cover charge or whatever, it's not as expensive as I thought. Well,
Because
Let
as
me
a
take that
youth,
back.
when they said $25, $30,
you're like, woo, child.
no, thank you. Now it's just like, oh, that $30 to get out the riffraff. Sign me up.
Sign me up, Buttercup. I think what it was is with that particular location or that particular establishment or places like that similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like their method is make the cover charge high,
Yep.
and then everything else inside is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So your attempts at keeping the riffraff out is succeeded just through that alone. However,
Yep.
after you pay for the cover, which, like you said, as women, if you are part of that, are you part of that particular establishment where it's like there is no real cover charge for the women, or somebody covers for you because you're cute,
Mm-hmm.
or you got somebody in your friend group that's cute,
Mm-hmm.
or the bartender or the bouncer's like, all right, girl, you just get on in with your fine self.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I love those nights. Oh, you ain't got to pay. They're like, oh no, it's okay. I was like,
It's okay,
you ain't got
beautiful.
to tell
You
me.
don't gotta pay.
You ain't got to tell me
Good,
twice.
because I don't feel like going to an ATM because I always forgot. Go to the ATM, which
I
is
will
around the corner.
I will say though, one of the best situations when it was your birthday last year, and I see the guy. We parked. I was like, I ain't trying to pay for this parking charge. And I was like, oh my gosh, girl, happy birthday. He's like, it's your birthday, girl. You don't have to pay.
As I struggle in my little purse looking for my $20.
I was like making an effort, like, I was like, no. I was like, no, I got this. I just thought, oh my gosh, happy birthday. No, you don't have to pay. Like, please. She was actually looking for her lipstick. Little did you know. She made her look like she was looking for a 20. What she was looking for is, I got it.
I was actually looking for the money.
Oh, you were? Oh, yeah. I don't know why.
Because I heard you, but I didn't hear you. I was like, yeah, girl, thank you. Where is that 20? Where is it? Only for us to end up at the other place. And it was like, what was it? Parking valet was complimentary, so we didn't even have to pay. But I liked where I parked the car better.
Yep.
The way that guy pulled out,
Mm-hmm.
he a little rough with the cars.
But I will say though, those valet at that place we had dinner.
The guy that we were looking at, he wasn't valet. He was a server.
Oh, he was a server.
He was a server.
He was spending a lot too much time outside for someone who was a server. Shouldn't he be serving people?
He was either a server or a bouncer, or he worked at the bar. Because after a certain hour, that place became like kind of like a club.
Oh yeah.
So I think he was like maybe server turned bouncer, or he was always a bouncer, and that was probably his homeboy outside that was doing the valet.
All I know is
he was out there. He was standing.
He was fine.
I know he sensed us looking.
Oh, he turned around and looked.
Now
and the pizza was still there. I said, "What?"
Not what you tapping on the. Hey, excuse me. Psst, psst. Hey, you. Psst. I was like, what in the world?
Yo, as soon as
I'm over here like, man's hard at work. Looking at the street.
I said 30 seconds later, I was like, oh, he's not paying attention. Once I look away, Bisa was like, oh shit, we made eye contact. She was like, back away. It's too late. She got caught.
She did. She got caught. But he was very attractive. I was like, well, this is where they're hiding them.
He was attracted, and it was a really good night. He was attracted, and not only that, we had good music. So
I liked it.
Yeah,
it was a fun experience. I would definitely go back again.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
For the food and the experience. I mean, if he happens to be here, great.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not,
so
what you want me to do?
I will say this now. Having given some thought in regards to the things that you've done in your 20s and the things that you've done in your 30s, what would you say or leave our listeners and viewers with? Like, what advice would you give them, having gone through that transition and these different, times in your life, or different milestones, I should say?
I will say that with time does come with practice, I feel like. you do feel more confident now as you get older than you were when you were younger. I mean, you are learning. You're like I said, I'm 32, you're 30, so it's like brand new for us, and or it feels brand new for us. So we're still learning as we go. But I feel like you're at a completely different stage when you're in your 20s, and I feel that it's okay to be like that because you're still growing.
Yep.
Your 20s, your late teens, your 20s, you're more between 18 and 29. I feel like that's the time of period where it's like mistakes are almost encouraged because you got to get out of your system. You got to learn. You got to figure out. You got to fall before you walk.
Yep.
Or is it crawl? Or so whatever the saying is. You got to figure it out, and I think it's more forgiving when it's like that.
Yeah.
Whereas by the time you're like 30, everybody's treating you like a full-grown adult, and it's like,
yeah, it's like the training wheels come off quick, fast, and in a hurry.
they rip it off.
Oh yeah,
they rip it off.
It's literally like, oh, you're learning how to ride the bike for the first time, and then the parent just takes their hands off, didn't tell you, and then you turn around, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, come back. How do I stop? How do I do this?
Why'd you do that? So yeah, it's definitely a learning experience, but it definitely gets better with time. So it's like, please don't put so much pressure on yourself. That's what I would tell my younger self. I would tell my younger self, don't put so much pressure on yourself, because it does get better and you will be okay.
I would just tell my younger self, and the advice I would give to our viewers and listeners is, don't try. If you're anything like me, do not try to control things. Just be like, literally, it gets to a point where you just have to say, God, I trust in you. You do your work, of course. You do your part of things. But, like, don't overthink. Don't overstress it. And a lot of things, too, is if you're doing something and you see, like, there's a lot of opposition and a lot of fight, sometimes you have to come to terms that it's not necessarily like you're being given challenges so you can overcome and do things well. Sometimes these are just signs that's telling you this is not for you. This is not what you should be doing.
Or the way you're going about it is not for you.
The right way. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell our viewers. That's what I will leave you with.
And if you have somebody in your life that is any remotely similar to me, and you know, you're Abby. If you have a friend like me and you're Abby, bless your heart. Bless your precious little heart.
Make sure you got a bill bond,
drive them crazy. Drive them crazy on purpose.
No.
Distract them.
Don't do that.
Because their controlling nature doesn't go away, and you can have fun with this. That's what I would do. I mean, that's what I do with you all the time. I think it's hilarious.
Don't do it. She be out here having blood pressure rising unnecessarily.
But
It's
not my blood pressure, though.
Oh, how kind of you.
I know, right? I do so much for you. You're welcome.
Anyways, viewers, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us. We appreciate you tuning in as always and listening in, and we appreciate your support.
Yes, we do. Until next time.
Bye.